This is the Washington Times front page for the final day of July, Monday, July 31st, 2023. Thanks for starting your week with us. I'm George Gerbo. Those migrants who are making the attempt to cross the southern U.S. border with Mexico are paying more, according to a database of smuggling cases compiled by our Stephen Dinan. A Mexican crossing into the Laredo area of Texas is paying an average of $9,500, up from about $7,400 earlier this year, before the end of the Title 42 border pandemic expulsion policy in May. A Mexican sneaking into Arizona is paying an average of nearly $10,000. That's up from about $9,300. Central Americans pay even more. Stephen has tracked several recent cases of Guatemalans paying more than $19,000 to be smuggled into the United States. New Jersey is forging ahead with ambitious clean energy rules that take after standards implemented in California. Ramsey Touchberry reports New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy announced a rule this month to mirror one in California to phase out the sales of new gasoline-powered automobiles by 2035. Once the rule is implemented, New Jersey's electric vehicle market share of new vehicles sold would have to jump from 9% to 35% by 2027 and increase steadily until it reaches 100% in 2035. In some cases, Murphy is taking actions that would outpace green policies in California, which is known for spearheading laws that other Democratic-led states emulate. Congressional sources say the Biden administration won't tell lawmakers why State Department Iran envoy Robert Malley had his security clearance suspended earlier this year. Ben Wolfgang reports the State Department gave the House Foreign Affairs Committee a classified briefing on Friday morning. Outrage had been growing over the administration's handling of the incident and its potential implications for U.S. diplomacy and national security. A Foreign Affairs Committee spokesperson told Ben the State Department provided no significant new information and would not explain why Malley's security clearance was suspended. The spokesperson said administration officials cited the 1974 Privacy Act in refusing to provide more details. House Democrats say President Biden's record is strong enough to pull him through his re-election efforts regardless of his son Hunter's legal issues. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries told our Carrie Pickett that the president is going to have a phenomenal story to tell, noting that illegal border crossings are down and inflation is also coming down. Connecticut Congresswoman Rosa DeLauro said Hunter has already addressed his problems, and former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said federal prosecutors are targeting him only because he's the president's son. And finally, Susan Ferricchio previews the closed-door testimony expected from former Biden family business associate Devon Archer. The 49-year-old Archer is facing a year-long prison sentence for securities fraud. He'll testify to members of the House Oversight Committee on Monday. Find all today's front page stories at WashingtonTimes.com/front page or on the Washington Times app, and find us wherever you get your podcasts. Just search Washington Times in any major podcast app. You can also find us on Twitter and Instagram at Wash Times for breaking news, sports, commentary, and more. For the Washington Times, I'm George Gerbo.